Welcome to the Healthcare Nation podcast. I'm your host, Rick Janata, and we're committed to bringing you thought leaders in the field to discuss what's new and noteworthy in the health sector. This is the Healthcare Nation podcast.
There recently was an article from Yoshua Bengio, who is known as one of the godfathers of AI, and hit on a lot of topics when it comes to like the core values of regulating AI, things like progress, things like safety, things like democratic participation.
I wish I had a penny for every time AI comes up, and I know it's one of your favorite subjects. And look, there's no lack of it in literally every one of our podcasts. There's no doubt about it. And I think that look, he's been in the press a lot. He's truly one of the godfathers of natural language processing, artificial intelligence out there, no doubt. So for our listeners, do check him out. But the bottom line, when I think the article you're citing was either in Time or it was in Business Week, but progress, look, when you think about AI, progress in healthcare, diagnosis, treatment, AI algorithms becoming proficient at those things, becoming the standard, that is, the aspirational side, the positives are enormous. The risk side, we talked about it before. You have to look at, if you had a mistake, it's going to be scaled at a proportion which, wow, that's a lot more than just a single doctor making an error. The ethical implications with bias, all of that we talked about before, there's no doubt there's a risk in there. From the safety side, new applications, and I look at the risk part and strategy and risk going together a lot. Quality control, quality assurance, the application of AI there, certainly for drug development, for clinical trials. Lots of potential upsides to that. But there could be, again, on the negative side, this overreaction and overregulation that could actually stymie innovation and slow things down. And for us, we look at innovation a lot on the podcast. We wouldn't want that to happen with an overly regulated, system that's out there. With respect, I think one of the things you mentioned with democratic participation, look, patient inclusion in healthcare, that's important. Equity, approaching things equitably, making sure access is there, making sure that with respect to data, there's no data discrimination, because there is a real risk, certainly with these algorithms, of perpetuating any biases, having it, hardwired into that system. So
I
those are big issues.
I understand that, but the risk is the same as if we don't use it. Am I wrong? If we humans are biased, and we're going to continue innovating as biased.
Yeah.
And then AI is going to innovate with our biases that we train it with. Is it a greater risk or is it just the same risk?
Yeah, I think what it comes down to is if you have this kind of power in the hands of a few, then that bias is what is informing the platform's development.
So the situation that people are hoping to avoid with regulation is to not limit it so that only like the most powerful elite companies get to play with it and everybody else doesn't.
I think that's part of it, but I think the other side of this is if you had an open system, right, where everything is allowed to come in. Now, you're going to need some regulation or some norms to govern that process. I think when we're talking about regulation from the government perspective, stymieing, blunting, keeping that level of access to, say, technology that folks need to take their product forward. This could be even FDA regulations, other pieces to that within the government side of things, that would slow down and create a bureaucracy. That's different, I think, than what you're talking about, which let's just say a single practitioner has a bias taking care of a certain patient. It is limited. It rate limits because that person isn't scaled at 100 million people through 5 algorithms that go through 10 different portals.
Yeah.
That's the way I interpret
the potential for bias could be much greater than it is right now.
It's exponential when you think about the mathematical side. So that's why you got to get it right on the front end. The opinions expressed by the host and guests are for informational purposes only and not associated with any companies or academic institutions. Please follow us wherever you listen to your podcasts, as well as our YouTube channel, Healthcare Nation Podcast. And if you have any questions or want to contact us, please reach out to healthcarenationpodcast.com.